Good morning, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm coming to you today with a subject that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know, and that subject is centralization. You may have heard of centralized systems, centralized product lines, and whatnot, databases, and there's a whole category of systems and structures that are based around a focal point, and that's kind of going to be the essence of my idea today about some lesser known trade-offs with this structure. A lot of people assume that something centralized is better because it offers control. Obviously, you have all of your eggs in one basket, so to speak, so you can monitor and manage them much more efficiently. Well, okay, but there's a pretty big trade-off that I think most people aren't aware of. I want to highlight that. A couple of them, actually. The first one that comes to mind, consider a tribal or a primitive society, or a village, if you will, where there is no centralization beforehand. And then they decide as a group that they want to centralize their farms versus, say, all the people having their own individual farms on their own property, whatever. So now there's somebody helping to manage it and run the schedule and tend to the farms, and there's employees, and that's fine. But suddenly there's an effect. So we have greater control. We can now apportion things out. We can sell products because there's an authority. There's a business, so to speak, that's now manufacturing the products, and people can purchase them with money, whatever. So it kind of opens up the entire commerce conversation. But there's another effect that people aren't aware of. This village, this hypothetical village that has decided to centralize their farming, has suddenly created a conflict with other villages. Hear me out. So before it was centralized, there was perhaps some trade between people who traveled to this village or from this village to other villages, and there was nothing in the way. There was no middleman. There was no conflicts of interest. It was just effortless to trade as people saw fit. Well, suddenly that's going to infringe on somebody with this centralization, because all that food's been spoken for. All that food is now a commodity. It's a product that people want to buy in this village. Right? So we've cut off ties with other villages already just by centralizing. Regardless of people's beliefs or wishes or traditions, whatever they've been doing, suddenly it's cut off. All right, well, what happens when you cut off trade? We find that trade is one of the few things that actually preserves peace between villages, and on a larger scale between states and nations. Trade is one of the most well-known antidotes to war. Separate conversation, and I don't want to dwell on that. So back to the subject. Another trade-off of centralizing something is that when you centralize it, and as mentioned, you have a manager or an authority or employees now that are designated to oversee and run this operation, whatever it is, whether it's farming, whether it's data, it makes no difference. And the people who wish to benefit from this product or food stuff or whatever it is now have to petition, whereas before they did not. They have to qualify, and whether that's based on financial or economic status, or just simply having the price of the product in hand or not, this is a new factor that has been introduced. And the most important thing is that suddenly there is a question of discrimination or possible discrimination, where if an authority is managing the supply of anything, a centralized supply of whatever, There is the question, the legitimate question is created out of thin air as to fairness of distribution. So and so is getting more than me. So and so is getting less than me. Whatever. That never existed before centralized stuff. It wasn't a problem. Now it is. So there are some major trade-offs and costs with running a centralized system. So more control, more convenience is not always good. And if it seems too easy, if something is too good to be true, it usually is. It usually is. And we've just taken all this stuff for granted. I say we Americans, but most of the world really, we've taken this stuff for granted. It's just so common. It's been the way. It's been our parents' and grandparents' way for so long. We just don't even think about it. We don't think about alternatives. We don't think about distributed product systems, independence, having farms of your own, for example. I mean, obviously you can't make all the stuff you want yourself. You can't build a computer necessarily in your garage that works very well, but we don't even try. We don't really talk about it, and we don't even try to keep our individuality. And more importantly to me, people aren't aware of the trade-offs. So anyway, hopefully this helps. If you got thoughts or concerns, please reach out, whitehotrobot@gmail.com, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you.